Hello everybody, welcome to That's Football. I'm Mark Goldbridge and this is your latest football transfer news and afternoon update. Remember, we're live tonight for the Super Cup PSG against Tottenham, but we're talking done deals at last here, not just Liverpool, but also Aston Villa. Newcastle have finally done a deal. Jacob Ramsey, they've also bought a centre-back as well. It's not quite a striker, but we're going to start off with Liverpool because this is literally just coming in the last few minutes. Breaking from Plettigol, Liverpool have reached a full verbal agreement with Giovanni Leone. The super talented 18-year-old centre-back wants to join Liverpool with immediate effect. Negotiations with Parma advanced, want to sign two more centre-backs before deadline day, which is Liverpool. Liverpool fans talk to us about this. So Plettigol is saying that Liverpool want to sign two more centre-backs before deadline day. I don't know whether that's in addition to Leone or including Leone, because also their reports came out this morning from the Mail that Liverpool will not let Konate go under any circumstances and that he will be part of their plans this season. Remember, Konate is out of contract in the summer, heavily linked to Real Madrid. I would suspect that Real Madrid would probably like him to wait until the summer so they can get him for free. But apparently, Konate won't be going. You've got Van Dijk. Leone's coming in. He's young. And of course, we know that they are very advanced with Guehi as well. So looking like Liverpool could go for another centre-back beyond that. Not totally sure about that. But let us know your thoughts on that. Obviously, Liverpool's still very much in the race for Isak. Nothing new to report there, apart from his agent is apparently house hunting in Cheshire. Good luck. Nice part of the UK. Well, certain areas. Chester's a nice city, actually. Got a lovely wall that goes around the edge of it. You can see the race course. Prefer it more in the winter, but, that's a seasonal thing. Right, let me talk to you about a deal that is going to get done. Quite a shocking deal in a sense, because it's Newcastle doing a deal. Stop the clocks, everybody. It's happening. Newcastle have done a deal, and it's a good deal, but it's not a striker. It's Jacob Ramsey. Jacob Ramsey is going to leave Aston Villa to sign for Newcastle for £40 million. And I think this is the flip side of the transfer window, really, because we've seen such massive expenditure from the big boys. Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, Man City, Manchester United to a certain extent. And Newcastle clearly have got money. But Aston Villa, the team that was in the Champions League last year, is having to sell again. They had to sell Douglas Luiz last year, and they're having to sell again. PSR, FFP, it is restricted. There is a conversation to be had there, and I'll throw it into the chat because that's what we're here for. Do you feel that the financial governance of the Premier League is in fact fair? Because Aston Villa have had two very, very good seasons under Emery, but they keep having to sell while other clubs can just keep buying. And we know why. It's because of revenue. And we know that Villa don't pull in the revenue that a Man United or a Man City or an Arsenal do. But are we going to have the Premier League season I think we're going to have, where last year it was ridiculously competitive? This year, I think the top four are going to be out on their own. Bournemouth are weaker. Brighton are going to weaken themselves with Baleba going. And obviously Pedro's gone. Aston Villa are going to be weaker, of course. Rashford's not going to be there. Asensio, they're trying to get Asensio back apparently from PSG on loan again, which would be a positive for them. But selling people like Jacob Ramsey as well, it just weakens that Villa squad, doesn't it? And I've got to say, for me, I find it a little bit, of a shame, because you want the best league in the world, and obviously having to sell probably weakens Villa. Having said that, Jacob Ramsey didn't start every single game, but I think he's a good player. And I think it's the sort of signings that Newcastle, to their credit, have been trying to sign. They have been very adventurous in this transfer window. They've just not been very prosperous with it. But they brought a centre-back in from AC Milan. I forget his name, but someone in the chat will tell us. And they're also going to bring Jacob Ramsey in, who obviously will be a midfielder for them. And they still need to get those strikers in. But it is a deal done for Newcastle. And I think after the summer they've had, remember they got Alanga as well. They have actually brought in three players. I think the centre-back from Milan's going to cost 30 million, Jacob Ramsey 40 million, and 55 million on Alanga. So they've still spent in excess of 100 million pounds, and they'll spend more as well. So that's certainly not what Villa or Brighton or anybody else is doing at the moment outside the big five, really. So yeah, that's very, very interesting. Donnarumma is still very much a talking topic, Manchester City, his agent, Enzo Riola. Remember, I've said this before, Donnarumma, Erling Haaland, Paul Pogba, all part of the Mino Riola agency. Obviously, Mino Riola is now departed and dead. But his brother, Enzo Riola, is I think it's his brother, has obviously carried on the agency. He says we will consider solutions now. Maybe in the Premier League there will be clubs able to pay what's needed. PSG are asking for big money. They talk about respect, but it's only about the money. Well, it's don't bite the hand that feeds you. Basically, I think PSG may have been ruthless, but I think they've also acted in a way that's surprising, because it's normally the player that has the power. Other interesting news as well, Tottenham, Eze. This is getting really interesting, Arsenal fans. I said this yesterday, that I suspect that the Eze deal is going to go the same way as the Šeško deal, where Newcastle do all the running, they do all the bidding, and Man United wait in the background and swoop in at the end, knowing that the player wants them. I think Arsenal may replicate that tactic, where Spurs, to their credit, like Newcastle with Šeško, they do all the running. They're ambitious, but ultimately Arsenal will swoop in at the end and get the deal done. Now, that is what is expected to happen. It's irritating, of course, if you're a Spurs fan, but Arsenal is obviously a bigger pull at the moment, and the belief is that is where Eze would prefer to go. The interesting thing is, and look, you're not walking in his shoes, so you can't really judge. But I think if he went to Spurs, you'll play a lot more. I don't see him getting lots of minutes in an Arsenal shirt, unless they're going to play him off the left, in which case, if he's guaranteed minutes, you would probably go there, wouldn't you? But let's see what happens with that one. Oh, just sticking with Spurs, quite interesting as well. Fabrizio Romano reporting that Romero is going to be the new Tottenham captain with immediate effect. Thomas Frank seen him as a key player since day one. There was talk of him going to Atletico, but it never advanced. So Romero will be the new captain for Spurs. Obviously, Son has now left. So interesting with that. And don't forget, tonight we get our first competitive look at Spurs under Thomas Frank against the reigning Champions League holders, PSG. And of course, Spurs did win the Europa League. Don't you bloody forget it, mate. And who was the manager? Ange. So yeah, that's your quick update today on where we're at. Lots going on. Lots going on. But obviously, the transfer window will carry on for another 2.5 weeks. The Premier League will kick off in 48 hours. Very, very excited about that. And don't forget, we will be starting on Friday night with a watch along for the Liverpool game. Make sure you smash a like and subscribe. Lot for you to get comments in as usual. I'll speak to you later. 8 o'clock kickoff, PSG, Tottenham. Super Cup. Bye.